All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Tracy Root with the Gather community, and I am here today with one of our Gather creators in our community, Sonia Lee, and I'm super excited to have Sonia with us today because Sonia and I have been connected for a couple of years here through the Polka Dot Powerhouse community. If you're a part of that, you know what I'm talking about. And we finally had a chance to actually work together in partnering here in the Gather community. So I'm super stoked to have her here. She's incredibly creative and awesome, and I can't wait to hear a little bit about her story and a little bit about what she's bringing to our world. So Sonia, welcome to the party.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here too. So one of the first things people are going to notice, of course, as soon as you start talking is your accent. So let's tell us a little bit about where you're from, how you came to come here, and how you got started in doing what you're doing.
So I was originally born in Zimbabwe. And then after the Rhodesian War, I was about 5, we moved down to South Africa. And I lived in South Africa for 21 years, well, up until I was 21. And then I decided I needed to travel, and the only way I could travel was become an au pair. Oh. So I came to California being an au pair, liked California, stayed, and then I ended up getting married and life happened. So I'm now here.
Awesome. And was that always here in Northern California, Santa Cruz area, or other places?
San Ramon, so Northern California.
Okay.
Yeah, and then San Ramon, San Jose, and then Santa Cruz.
In Santa Cruz, and most people who end up in Santa Cruz never leave if they can help it.
It's very similar to the town that my parents are in. It's a beach town, so it's nice. I like being by the ocean, so
nice.
I feel at home here.
Awesome. And so how long ago did you decide to start doing what you're doing? And tell everyone, I mean, you do incredible work. It's so amazing. So tell everyone and obviously you do a lot of things, but tell everyone what it is that you do.
So I do a lot of things, but my passion is wearable art and the fashion industry. And I do a lot. I'm working on a piece right now for Pivot, which I'm hoping I can get done in time. But just unique items, one-of-a-kind pieces. I do custom embroidery. I do arts and crafts, DIY classes, as well as sewing classes. And all the classes are for starting age 9 and up. Anybody who wants to learn, I'm willing to teach them. I have machines here, or I can teach you on your own machine. If you don't know how to use your sewing machine, I'm more than happy to help you. And then you can see in the background, I have embroidered hats. I have my wrap skirts that are in the background here, which is this top here, which is, you can wear them 100 different ways. So that's what I do.
So fun, so fun. And I love that you teach kids that are even younger. So like when I learned how to sew, it was in junior high school. And it was a lifelong love too. I worked at New York Fabrics for years, all right, back in the day. And so, people who get a chance to learn something like that at a young age, I think it really sticks with you. Like I can sew now as well as I could then, which was never an expert, but it's a life skill. And there's so much value in that, no matter when someone starts to learn things like that, and to be able to just keep it at that life skill level, or to move on and to have an expert like yourself to be able to guide them is so cool.
It's so much fun, especially with the Mission Hill students, because I usually teach the Arts Academy for the fashion teens, which is my favorite. But during the pandemic, things shifted, and it was really hard, and it was heartbreaking to see some of them not being able to participate.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't connect on Zoom, or we couldn't connect to help them get their stuff and things. So, but I've done that 3 years in a row.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. My son and now my daughter goes to be 40, but we have Arts Academy obviously as well. So I love that. I didn't realize that you did that. And you mentioned Pivot. Tell everyone what Pivot is about. I'm familiar, but I don't know when it is either.
So I believe it's September this year. I know that it's usually in September, kind of the middle to the end. It's a fashion show. There used to be Fashion Art Santa Cruz, but Fashion Art Santa Cruz is no longer. And they've combined Pivot and fashion art. So it's wearable art as well as just regular wear. And you'll see some outrageous designs and phenomenal people. Models are from all ages, young and old. It doesn't matter your size, your age, which is great, because I'm all about, it doesn't matter about your size and it doesn't matter about your age. If you want to be a model with my company, I'm willing to work around your size and
Yeah.
yeah.
Make it work what's ideal for them so it can have it really be really inclusive.
Yes.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so for Gather, we're talking a lot about community, and that really touches on that a lot. So the work that you're doing in teaching people how to learn to sew, learn this life skill, or other things that you're working on too, really is kind of paying forward these things that you've found enjoyment in and allowed, take what you've got and pass it to the next person so that they can maybe pass it on to, maybe even their next generation. It's something that they'll take with them for a long time. Do you have any good stories of something like that happening where you showed someone something, but now you've seen them move on to doing something really cool?
So actually one of them is my student that I had today. I taught her last year for fashion teams, and each year she grows and grows, and now she's teaching her mom some of the sewing, and then she's helping make masks for her family. So it just keeps going, and then just the projects that she picks just keep getting bigger and better, which just totally makes me all warm and fuzzy, because I can see her growing and just her glowing.
Yeah.
And then she's also teaching one of her friends as well.
Awesome.
So I totally love teaching the kids.
That is so great. The feeling of accomplishment that you get from sewing. I mean, I remember that, like I said, from when I was in junior high school, making, the project, and it's this dress or whatever. And just I made that,
Mm-hmm.
that level of creativity and the ability to say that I took an idea that was in my head, whether you use a pattern or make it up yourself, whatever, mm-hmm. You're still making it from raw material. Yes. To move forward. And so that goes on with some of the other things that you're doing as well, that are, that kind of start you where you're at and allow you to grow in new ways too. So talk a little bit about some of that, because I know you have classes and things that you teach in addition to sewing that are things that people will see with Gather. And so I just kind of want to touch on all the bases.
So I do chalk couture, which is screen printing with transfers, and they're reusable, and you use the chalk paste, so you can get the kit. And basically what we do is I give you kit options for what we will do that day, and then you purchase the kit. I mail it to you. Right now I mail it straight to your door, so you don't even have to do anything, and then we get on Zoom and I walk you through it. It's a little harder for me to do it on Zoom because I like to be hands-on with the students and see and help them in person. So it's a little challenging doing it on Zoom, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then I am looking at doing other classes as well. I've just got my resin kit in. So I'll be making resin jewelry, and I'm going to be hopefully being able to offer that as a class as well.
Awesome. Oh, I love it. So for me, having you be a part of the Gather community, you're like my super creative, like anything creative, anything artistic, like Sonia is our gal. I'm so excited about all of those things that you have to share. What else was I going to ask you? Well, tell us about where you're at. So, because, if for people who are local, they're going to recognize right away where we're talking about. But for people who aren't local, who might see this elsewhere, tell us a little bit about where your studio is there and where you're at.
So I'm in the Tannery Art Center, which is, it's apartments as well as art studios and work studios. So the apartments, you have to be an artist to live here, at least one person per household. But with the studios, it can be either someone who lives here or someone that lives in the county or in the local area. Mm-hmm. I have a studio. My studio is about 400 square feet, roughly. And we have the courtyard, which is behind me. I walk right out to the courtyard. And there's a cafe right now that's open for pickup.
Nice.
And we have so many different artists. We have gallery, we have photographers, we've got jewelry. We've got so many
The
artists.
dance studio and the theater, obviously not really happening right now, but eventually that'll all come back.
Some of the workout classes are happening.
Oh, great.
So anybody can go onto the Tannery Art Center website, and everything that's happening is usually on the calendar.
Great. Well, that's good that some of that stuff's happening. I find that every time I hear about someone who's got something going on at the Tannery, I just have this vision of this really vibrant artistic community that seems really cool. And, you know, you drive by and the buildings are really cool. You know, it's an old tannery. So it's the whole, you know, renovated live workspace. It's like being in New York City without having to be in New York City, getting to be by the beach instead.
It is. And the building's actually a historical building. So a lot of it, especially the work studios where I'm at, they've kept the main framework. So that framework is historical, and they have a history wall as well. So it's interactive. That you can go and look at the history of the tannery.
Oh, that's cool. The only time I've really been there, like not just kind of in passing, was when I came to see you to get my masks that you made for me.
Yeah, and people can walk the property. There's a lot of artwork on the property. They've just done another art installation. There's the mosaic pieces that are out there that you can go have a look at and take pictures.
Oh, cool.
It's really cool. And then you can walk along the river as well behind the building.
Oh yeah, really nice. I saw that a little bit too. That's really nice. And so, and you're kind of in like your studio, but it's like storefront-ish, so people can see, you know, where you're at and kind of put some stuff in the window. Do you still have your space at the mall, even though the mall's closed now, I guess?
I do. They just asked me to re-sign my lease, so I'm kind of nervous, but I think I'm going to do it anyways, just to support them.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. And well, I'll tell you, every time I with my kids at the mall, I'd always be like, oh yeah, here's my friend Sonia's stuff. And, you know, and it also reminded me of like the glow event that used to happen, because you have your LED lighting stuff. That's amazing.
Yes, those are my favorites. The piece I'm working on right now will be LED lights.
Awesome.
But it has the excitement and glow and just.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. And the way that it contributes to the community in Santa Cruz, I think, is really cool, right? Like someone wearing that costume, whether it's you or someone else. Obviously, I know some of the other people who wore your work. Like, you know, they're at this event and, ooh, that's really cool. But like, they don't necessarily know that it's you or that you made it. And so to see the creator and then the creation and how it ends up being received by others, and like the way it's all tied together is just so cool. And that's, you know, one of the main reasons why I'm super excited to have you as part of our group, because everything that you teach then ripples through those of us who are learning from you, and we get to expand that out. And we walk by, so, you know, and we get to kind of keep that word out there about not only how awesome you are, but when you see something awesome, oh yeah, that reminds me of, it's all related to keeping everything connected.
Yes, and it's awesome to see people recognize my work or recognize me, and I actually don't know who they are, and it just makes me all happy that.
Do they ask for your autograph?
Not yet. Yet. I have been in a magazine, which is totally was unexpected. And being on the front page of a paper, awesome. Which I'm not usually at the center of attention, so I'm the quiet person, usually behind the scenes person. But
right. Well, that's the thing, right? As the creator and the costumer or whatever, you're not the one on stage usually. So to have that attention must be. And so how does that translate for you in teaching classes? Because when you teach your classes, you're the center of attention because you're the one teaching.
It's a little different. It's a different feeling for me than being out in the public eye.
Yeah.
So I'm getting used to being out in the public, but with my students, you know, I teach them to try and be confident and not be scared to try something new, or, you know, I teach them to be confident, but sometimes I feel I'm not always, especially out in public.
Well, and isn't that, what we all go through? And that's why us all getting to be together and feeding and learning from each other is so valuable, because we all have that little voice inside us that keeps us a little bit like unsure, or, not ready to speak out loud. That's one of my big goals, is to continue to allow my voice to be bold and heard, even when I'm maybe not 100% positive of what I'm doing. Because I'm not always positive. It might surprise you. I don't always know what I'm doing, but I like to experiment, right? And that's what you're talking about. And that's really pure creativity, is all about allowing yourself to experiment and maybe make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and try again.
Yes, and it's my whole business has been all trial and error and changing what doesn't work and just being confident. In the beginning, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And now it's like, I can do this. I know I can do this. And even though I keep adding things, I kind of decide what works and what doesn't work, and then just have that confidence to teach somebody else what I've learned.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that you said that you're going to do the resin jewelry, because I think that'll be a really nice complement to all of the fashion work, and the chalk couture stuff, which I think is super awesome. Like, that's like dressing your home. So you've got like dressing yourself, dressing your home. You've got this whole kind of Joanna Gaines lifestyle thing going on. You'll be the next, what is it? What is her thing? Well, I have her book here. It's called Homebody, but the next, Waco, Texas, we'll have it at the Tannery.
It's a lot of fun to, because sometimes I don't want to just do fashion. And also I don't like to just sit still and when I'm home, because my family's on their devices and that's how they decompress. I'll be making jewelry or doing something with my hands.
Yeah.
Even if I'm watching TV. So I don't like to sit still. So I'm always busy.
So do you find for yourself, when you're like needing to, I don't want to say stay busy, but like we've got some pretty crazy times going on right now. There's anxiety and stress and things like that come up. Do you find that doing something creative is your way of kind of working through some of those feelings?
Oh, it totally is. Because if I'm in a bad mood or I'm just really stressed out, I will end up coming down to my studio and just making something, or fiddling, even if it's just moving my fabric around and reorganizing, and it just releases all that stress, and then I'm in my little happy place, and then I'm good.
I was going to say, it just changes your whole environment. And so when you adjust your environment to be more supportive, then you're really able to allow that emotion to kind of work through and dissipate. So that's awesome. That's great. Well, so tell us something that's coming up for you. So, I mean, you mentioned you're teaching classes, you're doing things. What do you have coming up? This video obviously will be available for a long time. But right now we're in the middle of July 2020, super COVID times, and we're all doing online things. So tell us a couple of things that you have coming up that people can look for.
So right now I'm working out my calendar for next month. So I'm hopefully going to be having the chalk couture. And then I do have my beauty and wellness class that'll be coming up to learn about how to teach you about wellness from the inside out. What else do I have coming up? And then the pivot is the next one after that. So
right. Oh yeah. So that's just the next month. And with the things like the sewing classes and stuff, is that something that you have like full? Do you have your students? Do you advertise those as being available as well?
So right now I'm only able to, because my space is so small, I'm only able to do private, which is really hard, because I would normally be doing the summer camps, and I usually have at least 4 students, because I could usually take 4 students at a time. But now they're only private classes. So if anybody wants to take classes, they can either go and look at my website.
Maybe they have an idea of something they want to do for the holidays or something. They could check that out, get some one-on-one instruction on really, getting a chance. You mentioned like help you figure out your sewing machine. So recently I bought my sewing machine when I worked at New York Fabric. So that'll tell you, it was like in the early 90s. And I still have that same machine. It's very basic. And, I can open it up and thread it, but I don't even remember like how to deal with the tension and all of that. Any of you who out there who sew, you know what I mean, right? The tension between the needle and the bobbin, and like, I don't remember. I just experiment, but it's a great idea to just kind of take a refresher course and get you to say, you know, this is the best way if you're going to make these kinds of things, these kinds of fabrics, whatever. Great expertise. The other thing that I love that I want you to just touch on briefly is the custom embroidery stuff that you've done. You mentioned the hats in the back, but I know that you did some personalized things for some people that we have are mutual friends with, like for their business or for their friends and family. So tell us a little bit about the kinds of things you've done for that.
So the custom embroidery is, there's a wide variety of things you can do, but I have been doing people's logos on their shirts for their business, or gifts for their clients which have their logo on. So I can pretty much put any image into the machine and it'll sew it out in the colors that are correct for your business.
Awesome.
Or if you want someone's artwork, I had someone that had their son's artwork that they wanted it on the back of a jacket for his wife.
Oh, cool.
Because he didn't know what to get her for Christmas.
Yeah.
So we took his artwork and put it on the back of a Levi jacket.
How fun.
And so there's so many different things I can do with the embroidery.
That just made me think of, you know, all my kids' old artwork that, you know, like, what do you do with it? It's a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could just have it embroidered, and, you know, whether you want to wear it or do it on, you know, a pillow or on the corner of a blanket or, you know, something like that, that would be really fun and a really cool gift. That's really awesome.
It is. And I usually keep the images. I save the files. So if you decide, oh, I want a pillowcase with that same image, I can put it on a pillowcase. So, you know, I keep those images for you.
That's fun.
So that if you ever want something else, then we can just put it on something else.
Yeah, that's super fun. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we've got some things coming up. We've got some chalk couture stuff, some health and wellness stuff going on. Any last, we'll put in the links, obviously, the ways people can get in touch with you. What's your favorite way to kind of show up in the world? Where do you want people to go first to find you?
The easiest is usually Facebook.
Me too.
But, you know, if you go to my website, which is www.cosmochicsc.com, all my Instagram, Facebook is all there. There's even an instant message there. So you can actually click on it to send me a message, and it sends it directly to my phone.
Oh, great.
So, and my email. So either way is fine.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, I am so glad we had this time together to talk about all these things. I learned some new things, even though we've known each other for a while. And I am just so thrilled that you're a part of our community, and that, you know, really this is just the beginning. Our goal here with the Gather community is to continue to help all of us expand our reach, grow our circles so that we can reach more people, help people learn something new, help people find out something new about themselves, and or maybe pass it on to someone else who also could find value in it. So I hope that those of you who are listening enjoyed meeting Sonia and talking with her as much as I did, and I'm really glad to be able to feature her here as one of our Gather community creators. Any last parting words?
Well, thank you for having me on today, and I look forward to meeting new people, lots of new people.
Yep.
And just having fun with people and just being creative with people. So yeah.
Love it. Creativity rocks. All right. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.